UBS Forums team for organizing this, and very happy to be here as part of this esteemed panel and have the pleasure to be able to moderate this panel discussion. We can start with a quick round of introductions. So let me start first with myself. I'm Mandeep Singh Tuli, and I have been working with Unilever for the last more than 20 years. And my current role is the head of procurement for foods and ice creams business for South Asia. So that's very briefly about me, and I would now request my other fellow panelists to also offer a quick introduction.
Hello. Good evening. This is Pradeep here. I head the procurement for Blue Star EMPG division. That's all.
Hello. Good evening. This is Bhushan Bannur from Tata Consumer Products. I take care of food sourcing for Tata Consumers, which is into space of staples, pulses, spices, etc. About 19 years of work ex, primarily in procurement, but have worked in other domains like supply chain planning and manufacturing as well. Pleasure to be part of this panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Amita, Khurana. I've been with Tata Steel for 22 years now, and I've been in the space of procurement for the last 9 years. In my current role, I'm responsible for global raw material sourcing for our steel plants in India as well as in Europe. So basically, along with my team, we are responsible for close to 50 million tons of buy of iron ore, pellets, coal, coke, etc. Pleasure to be here, and I'm really looking forward to this session.
Hello, good evening. My name is Pawan Kothari. I'm Senior Vice President with IPCA Laboratories Limited, and my job profile is mainly it is indirect material buying and especially capital goods and all the expansion projects, taking care of all the expansion projects. I'm with IPCA Laboratories for last almost 11 years, and before that of course, I worked with JK Tires and Reliance. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot to all of you for the round of introduction. So we can begin now. I think it's a good segue from the previous session when I was also keenly listening to Mr. Bhushan, who was talking about what is the KPIs beyond just the cost savings. And he was talking a lot about innovations, and he was talking a lot about value which procurement can bring to the business. And I think the context is that normally when we talk about procurement, we always talk about negotiation savings and we talk about cost savings in our discussions with the suppliers. We have a lot of discussions on how do we reduce the cost. But the question really is that can we look at something beyond that, and can we look at the total value delivered and not just overtly focus on the cost. So this is basically what we are going to be discussing as part of this panel discussion, and I'm sure all of you as procurement professionals face this day in and day out when you have your meetings with the suppliers, when you have discussions with the suppliers. What are the kind of things which you need to focus on, and how do you do those engagements with the suppliers? And then also equally, one is the external engagement, the other is the internal engagement in terms of how do you really engage with your internal management committee, with your C-suite executives, and how do you convince to them the value which procurement is generating. So both the discussions are quite important. So let me start first with Mr. Pradeep. And the first point which I think it's good for us to be discussing is that what are the key metrics beyond cost savings that organizations should be using to measure the strategic impact of procurement. So it will be great to hear your views, Mr. Pradeep.
Thanks, Mr. Singh. See, whatever we have talked about in terms of the procurement savings and all, now beyond looking at things, two things are coming to my mind. One is that the strategic alliance partnering, okay? So nowadays, a lot of EPC companies, they are looking for some strategic tie-up. So where or the partner what we wanted to have. So where the procurement can play a vital role in identifying a good partner for us. That is number one. Number two is improving the operation excellence. So under that, we can talk about the cycle time reduction. Then we can take it the digitalization, where we can improve the operation excellence there. And third thing is what we can look at is the vendor relationship building. So this is one of the KPIs what we can think about. And the last one is we have talked much about ESG and all. I think that can be a vital role where procurement can play a thing for the organization. And one more, which is of management interest, is maintaining a positive cash flow for the company. So that is where this company will be looking for when you are negotiating with the suppliers. So they will be looking at your positive cash flows. So I think these are the some 5 KRAs or the KPIs what we can look for the procurement thing.
Great. No, thank you so much, Mr. Pradeep. And I think the point you made on the strategic alliances, and also I think the fact that we need to get into win-win kind of relationships with our partners. And also I think the important point you made on cash, because it's not just the job of the finance, but also procurement to be able to discuss, negotiate the credit terms, the payment terms, and generate the cash flows. Because I think ultimately it's very, very important to have a healthy cash flow in the company. So I think the areas which you have pointed out, I think are very, very relevant, and we need to all look at it, and not to forget the one also you mentioned on the ESG. I think all of us are facing now, and it's becoming more and more important, and we need to make sure that we take this forward in the right direction. So thank you, Mr. Pradeep. So moving to the next question, which I have for Mr. Pawan, would be that what are the most effective KPIs? I know in the last session, Mr. Bhushan was talking about some KPIs which were very interesting, but this is for Mr. Pawan, that what are the most effective KPIs for measuring the procurement's long-term strategic contribution? So if you could just shed some light on this, Mr. Pawan, that will be nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Just to mention, by profession, I'm a chartered accountant, and but I don't see the number when I do the procurement. This is the last thing which I do. I see what is the value we are buying for the organization. I see what is the asset we are buying for the organization, and how that asset can be useful for the organization in terms of improvement in the yield, in terms of uninterrupted production, in terms of capturing the market requirement without any interruption, without any problems with the users. And I generally try to see that the maintenance department remains idle when we buy an equipment. The equipment or the machine or the capital goods should be like, this is my, KPI, I would say, that the buying must be in such a way that the machine or the equipment or the building does not need any kind of a maintenance, does not give any problem to the user. So this is the one of the most KPI which I feel I use. And another KPI I would mention is the predictive maintenance. There are technologies available, and the machines which with the latest technology made give you the advanced intimation about the forthcoming breakdown or the possibility of the problem in the machine. So these kind of predictive maintenance are very useful nowadays, and which I feel should be the KPI for the strategic buying. And then third is the strategic buying I would mention is there are certain machines or certain products which are not available in India. For example, I will give you an example. We bought a machine called rotary pressure filter. This machine is not manufactured in India. It's a high costly machine. So the machine is available, say, in Germany, which is the best or the biggest supplier in the world. So we bought this machine from this German supplier. But simultaneously, we identified one of the big company in India which can or which has the capability to develop or make this kind of a machine. So we placed the order to both the companies, to this German company as well as to the Indian company. The lead time of the machine is 1 year. Both the machines are, of course, the German machine is a valid, proven machine, so it is a successful machine. But the machine which we bought from India is also successful. Now, we have created, like, if we buy multiple machines in future, so we have created this vendor, or we have developed this vendor for the future. And the cost of the Indian machine is half of the cost what we bought from, say, Germany. So this is the kind of KPI I would say are important for the strategic buying. Thank you.
Great. No, thanks a lot, Mr. Pawan. And I think it's a very good example of the capital procurement, of the capex procurement. And I think you talked about the fact that when you are buying this equipment, how many alternatives you have. Also, I think developing some good strategies on alternative vendors, developing some strategies on localization, which results in the reduction of the cost. And I think you also talked about predictive KPIs. So I think it's very helpful for all of us to know about this area of, especially on the indirect procurement, because in the direct procurement, we have a lot of discussions, but sometimes I think indirect procurement area gets ignored. So thank you for really sharing your thoughts on that, Mr. Pawan. Okay, so let me now come to Ms. Amita, and I think this question is about these issues which normally we face in articulating the challenges for procurements. What is the kind of strategic value which procurement is adding, and how do we really convince our senior leadership? Because all of us have our discussions with our senior leadership, and when we present to our either the leadership team or the management committees, we always need to talk about the value which procurement is creating. And I think it will also help, Mr. Amita, if Ms. Amita, if you share some thoughts around that, what are the kind of strategies you adopt while making those communications and while making those presentations. So it will be helpful. Over to you, Ms. Amita.
Thanks, Mandeep. So in Tata Steel, and I'll probably be taking a few examples from my experience. Now, we are all from the procurement fraternity here. How many times have we heard कि अगर कुछ अच्छा हो गया है तो वो market के कारण है, और अगर कुछ खराब हुआ है तो procurement is responsible, right? So I'm sure all of us have from time to time come across this. So then how do we get that seat at the table? Now, first important thing is that how much procurement is representing as a spend, as a need in the overall scheme of things, because that to a large extent determines how much importance procurement as a function is going to get in the overall things. The 3 or 4 strategies that I feel may be useful, of course it depends on the context of the organization, but I think something that we have used and it has worked in our favor in Tata Steel. So first and most importantly is the leadership connect. Do we keep our function only responsible for PR to PO, or is there the CEO and MD to vice presidents to the product chiefs, etc., know exactly what's happening in procurement? So just to give an example, coal is a very important raw material for steel, and we buy tons and tons every year from the global supply chain. Now every year the CEO and MD spends 2 days in Australia meeting the coal suppliers, hosting a dinner for our current suppliers, potential suppliers, the entire coal value chain in Brisbane once in a year, every year. It's been a tradition now, right? And besides this, we continue to all our major suppliers, we'll make sure that there's a slot which is there with vice presidents, with MD, to meet them so that they know exactly what's happening. So that's the leadership connect, which flows right from the top to the vice presidents or the site heads. So that's one. Second is collaboration and syndication. Now, if I look at my organization, there is a CFO who has a target on working capital in, or inventory or cash flows. There's a vice president who's responsible for new technology or new products and now need procurement to provide the raw material for that. There's a vice president who's, let's say, running a site, a steel manufacturing site, who wants the cost to be okay, who wants the quality product to be given. Now, at the leadership level, from procurement, from our side, to the leadership level of our internal customers, what is the kind of collaboration we have? It's not about what we can do. I mean, do we really understand the challenges that that person is facing in his office? And how is it that we as procurement can step in and provide some solutions? And sometimes it might also be that it's not a big project. We might just be a tiny bit in the whole scheme of things, but do we step up and collaborate from that perspective? Third, very important is what are the strategic KPIs that we are looking at? Of course, savings are there. Of course, spend management is there. Payment terms is there. All of that is, all that is there. But if, let's say, there are areas where there is a problem solving which is required from other people. See, because senior leadership will also give you the bandwidth and the importance only when they know that all these senior leadership, not only the MD, but the leadership across the table is finding procurement to be a function where when they're starting a project, they want to discuss it with you. They want to check with you, how do we solve this problem? What can you do? How can you help us to do something better? So I think this kind of identification of strategic KPIs is very important. And last is the long-term vision. So just to quote give an example, today Tata Steel is 100% self-sufficient as far as iron ore is concerned, because we have got our own mines. Now in 2030, these mines, the legacy mines which have been there with us for like hundreds of years, are going to go for auction. We may get it, we may not get it, right? So sitting here in 2025 or 24, we've already started the work that how are we going to meet the raw material requirement of 2031 onwards. I'm not going to buy a single ton in this 5 or 6 years, but how I'm making sure, or my team is making sure, that we have the supplier relationship going as on today. So for example, we will be probably setting up meetings with the chairman and MDs of OMC, NMDC, Coal India Limited and all, just to elevate the whole level of discussion with the senior leadership on the other side. So I think keep an eye on the long-term vision of the company and start looking from there that what is it that we can do. Once you do this, there's no way that any important discussion which happens in your organization and you're not part of it, or your function is not part of it. So I think these are some of the things that we can do. Articulation will only happen when we ourselves are convinced, when we are ready to go that extra mile in terms of putting that hard work, knowing what to do, and then delivering what we are committing. So I think we do this, we are in the A game for that.
Great. No, thank you so much, Ms. Amita. I think that was very helpful, and I think the two insights which we can draw, I think the first thing is that you basically elevate the procurement contribution to the board of the company and make sure that it's very well understood. And I really liked your idea of making sure that the top suppliers are meeting the members of the management committee. And I think that places the procurement at a very, very good pedestal. So I think that's one thing which I really found insightful. And the second thing also, I think, which I found really interesting is that planning several years ahead, because I think you talked about the fact that for next 5, 10, 15 years, you already started the planning and building the strategic relationships which are there to securitize the requirements after 5, 10, 15 years. So I think that's also something which we must take a note of, because normally we always tend to think about the here and now, and we need to make sure that the vision of the company is very well understood, and we also need to have a long-term path which is clearly sorted out, and we need to plan several years ahead in many of the discussions. So I think that's something which was really very, very insightful for me, and thank you so much, Ms. Amita, for sharing these insights. Let me move to Mr. Bhushan now, and I think this would be about what are the kind of emerging trends which are going to define how the procurement strategic impact is measured. So, and I think you mentioned some of this in your presentation, and we really found it very useful. So if you could also help us in summarizing that, what trends are going to redefine the way the procurement strategic impact is measured and understood. So over to you, Mr. Bhushan.
Thank you so much. I think in my view, when it comes to procurement, right, probably this function is as old as mankind, right? So ever since two human beings came into existence, from that day onwards, we are negotiating with each other for something, right, in return of something. So that's the legacy that we as procurement function have up our sleeves. I think one key thing which is already a trend, and I'm afraid at times that word gets more abused than probably as a meaningful thing, is the sheer digital, digital intervention or digital adoption. I look at this trend from three lenses. One is from internal, our own organization lens. As procurement professionals, the sheer amount of data that we have for ourselves is huge. Be it our own transaction data, be it data related to our suppliers in terms of their service quality, their financial capabilities, etc. Digital analytics and tools which help us filter the noise and give us what we need, is going to probably define or separate leaders from others. So identification and implementation of a right digital tool for your own internal data analysis and analytics is going to be a very, very key. Second is the same thing for an external environment, which is your larger supplier base. Because I think during one of the presentation, one of the esteemed presenters mentioned that a supplier may be a key to you, but he, being a big supplier, could be equally big to so many other customers like yours. So all those digital data scrapping, or you may put it as a web scrapping kind of a thing, which help you quickly assess and analyze your suppliers' data and ecosystem, is going to be the second key trend, which again will differentiate between leaders and others. And third, and then most important thing, I think around the larger environment. I think I believe with President Trump taking the office soon, we will start seeing those posts about linking or establishing correlation between Trump's tweet and crude oil prices, right? So it happened earlier. Probably there is no reason why it will not happen not. And in procurement professionals, any event, any development in one part of the world may have direct and indirect impact on our products availability and pricing. So capability to assimilate or assess those news events, those developments, filter them out, and come up with a recommendation which is useful for us as procurement professionals, which will help us make our decisions, either advance the decisions or postpone the decisions. I think this third element would be probably a key differentiator. At times it looks like a wish list, but given the pace at which digital adoption is happening, not only in India but across the globe, I think many of these things are either a reality in certain pockets of the world, are going to be reality in India as well. So to summarize, I think one single thing, how efficiently, effectively one adopts all the digital tools and advancement for one's own benefit is probably one of the single largest and disruptive trends that is there for us to capitalize upon. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mr. Bhushan. And I think you mentioned it very rightly when you said that we need to take care of the external events and we need to make sure that we are continuously scanning the external environment, and we are seeing that what is the impact which is there on the procurement, because that's something which we need to be proactive about, and we need to take early actions to make sure that any cost impact is mitigated from all these external events. So you're absolutely right. I think these days all of us are following the external developments very closely, and it's obviously not just in India but in all parts of the world, because the global markets are so well connected that you cannot just focus on the India market, but you have to just take a look at the global sourcing market for full analysis. So, and the point you made on the digital solutions also is, I think, very valid, that you need to continuously make sure that you are carrying the right digital solutions. So I think this was what we had in mind for the discussion, but it would be also helpful if any of the people from the audience have any questions for our panelists in terms of the strategic value which procurement creates beyond any negotiations, beyond any cost savings. So, or if you have not a question, if you have some thoughts to share, ideas to share, we can focus on that now.
A very good evening to all of you. I have a specific question to Mr. Pradeep Morab. Mr. Pradeep Morab. This is regarding that after that Palestine and Israel war and that pager bust and all these things, especially into the security net. Means you people possibly sourcing lot of semiconductors from outside the country. In that case, in terms of the security net, what all are thinking right now? How do you mitigate all this risk?
You are talking about the security risk of sourcing the semiconductors, right? See, we have, if you see the semiconductor business, so there was a lot of demand and supply gap, hence the prices were shot up. So what we are trying to say is we are looking for some other vendors, so where they can diversify the supplies and then we can source it so that the lead time can be shortened. So this is what, and from the data security now, it's all clear, na? What is there actually in the data center?
I'm not asking the data security and all. I'm asking the way the insecure situation happened through the pagers. And we did not know, or possibly that the user did not know all such kind of things are happening in the global supply chains.
Correct.
That kind of security perspectives. Tomorrow, I should not buy this kind of semiconductor or instruments, which may be tomorrow a security issue, burst, pager burst. So how do you mitigate that kind of things?
See, basically, when you're talking about the security in terms of bursting, all what you are talking about, right? If I got your thing. So we need to check about the quality of the product. Okay. So in fact, either we can have a third-party inspection at the vendor premises and get it done. So in case, and we do have that capability evaluation of the vendors. So when we talk about the vendor evaluation, so as a process, there is a out of 100, there will be a scoring pattern. So out of, let's say 65 is the marks, what we give. And there are various attributes where we vendors qualify on the delivery, product, design, and then what is the capability and all, and what is that certificates, OSHA certificate or ISO certificate is having, all sort of certificates we will check. And then a score is given, and based on that, again it is some third party assessor will go to his factory and assess it, and then entire history is given based on the financial things also. And then the quality perspective also, they give the score. So once it is done, so if you have got again doubt on that vendor, we can also get a third party inspection done at his premises and get the good quality material shipped out.
See, this pager accident, so one is, my personal belief is, any day the terrorists, mercenaries, revolutionaries, freedom fighters, whichever way we term these people, their passion will be way, way, way ahead of what the passion we will be holding as a procurement professional. So they will find some innovative way to do things which maybe we can't think of. That's number one. Now, number two, in some of the areas where this challenge lies, and I'll take an example of buying scrap. We buy scrap and put it into our furnaces. Now, many a times these scraps have cylinders, जो scrap process नहीं हुआ, और ऐसे full-fledged cylinders, gas cylinders are there. Or there might be even some ammunitions. Now, if something, while handling or transportation or something may go wrong. Now, when you know that there is a risk of this nature which lies, the only saving grace that you may have is, one, to have a very watertight contract so that you put the onus on your supplier. Two, to have right kind of quality assurance or inspection kind of a system, which, you're just trying to be taking all precautions as possible. But to beat the passion and the vision of some of the other set of people that we are talking about, probably might be difficult. That's just the personal view I have on this.
Probably that's the reason, all of us take flights, right? So earlier, all these, battery banks and all these devices were allowed to be carried in check-in bag. But it remained uncontrolled. But now it's a strict rule that, it has to be in your cabin baggage only, because it gets scanned through a different system compared to a check-in luggage. And there have been instances where accidentally you are putting those kinds of equipment which are a potential fire hazard and that goes into check-in bag, it will be separated out. So yes, as ma'am mentioned, well, those individually those systems are being put, but probably some of the process are also getting changed to protect larger civilization, I should say.
Good evening, all of you. Since we are all our procurement professionals, with the our visionary leader, Mr. Prime Minister Modi, Make in India concept, what strategy we can develop that so that we can consolidately procure the materials so that startup business grow more and the commodities are getting cheaper than importing from the overseas. So is there is any strategy or such kind of moves who are making such kind of things?
Yeah, I can start off on this, and I'm sure my fellow panelists will also have their contribution. So I think we are working very clearly on the strategy to localize our spends as much as possible. There are some materials, of course, we are using like palm oil, which is imported from Indonesia, Malaysia, because of less of palm oil is grown in India. We are making efforts to see how do we work with the local supply chains and try to encourage the local growing of the palm oil. So that's one initiative we are taking. And even on the others, we have our clear strategy of increasing our localization of the spends year on year. At the same time, we also start to develop our suppliers because Unilever is sourcing the materials globally. And we are trying to see how our suppliers not just can meet the India requirements, but they can export and they can meet the requirements in Europe, Southeast Asia, US and other countries. So these are the way we are developing our suppliers, not just to meet our requirements, but also to supply to other Unilever companies outside of India. I'm not sure if anyone wants to add to this.
So I think in the context of startups, especially the large enterprises, and again, taking an example of Tata Steel, there's a lot actually which needs to be done. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, that agenda is accepted, being worked upon by everybody, but especially for startups. And one of the things is that sometimes large enterprises like ours have a lot of barrier to entry. आप हमारा वेंडर रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म देखेंगे तो वो खाली 20 पन्ने का होगा 5 साल का हम लोग टर्नओवर मांगते हैं प्रॉफिट मांगते हैं मल्टीपल अदर थिंग्स दैट वी आस्क फॉर नाउ स्टार्टअप विल नॉट बी एबल टू गिव यू दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन राइट सो हाउ डू यू डू दैट सप्लायर सेगमेंटेशन where you're ready to take a certain risk, where you're ready to relax some of these standards to make sure that these people gain a foothold in an enterprise like yours. That's the service that we can do. And other than that, of course, are, having long-term conversion agreements or long-term offtake agreements when somebody is investing their capital into setting up some kind of manufacturing capacity. So, they have that backup. So I think that's the role that as a large enterprises we can play to make sure that these different variety of suppliers, startups, medium and small, medium, micro enterprises are getting supported. And then there is this multiplier effect of more and more investment being generated and people, setting up manufacturing facilities or service units within India so that we all can benefit and the nation can actually benefit out of this.
Generally, we import for two reasons. One is on quality, another is on the price. We try to import certain things from China because of the price. We try to import certain things from Europe or other countries because of the quality or the high technology or the latest technology. But in India also, nowadays, there's a complete possibility of get the good quality as well as get the good price. But we need to take little risk sometimes. We need to try the Indian products also when the products are available from the other market or European market. In India also there are companies, great companies, good companies, mid-sized companies which makes good machines or the machine which can compete with the European countries. There are many companies, European companies which has set up plants in India either with a joint venture or with their own plants and the manufacture in India with the technology support from European, their parents or parent company. So there is a good possibility or huge possibility to source from India, provided we take certain a little level of risk.
Great. Thank you so much from the audience for asking those questions. And once again, thanks a lot to all my fellow panelists for expressing their views, and I'm sure all of you would have gained some insights from the views of the panelists, and thanks a lot to all of you. Thank you.